All right, this is the Dynamic Mother-Daughter
Duo.
And we're here to give our little broadcast today.
Mm-hmm.
And our topic today,
you guys are gonna love this.
This is so great. Of recent times, we want to talk about
victim culture
and the mindset that people have that want to keep them as slaves.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are we talking about lately? Okay, everything that we've heard, and we've heard some recent stories about what's going on over in Europe, especially in Sweden and Finland, and also the recent immigration brouhaha that's going on at our capital with regard to some of the things in terms of immigration and the abject fears people have that are basically unfounded. But we want to get on more to the victimhood situation. What would you like to say?
Ooh, is this a topic that I know well, or what?
We're gonna push some buttons, people.
We're gonna break it down, and not just on an individual level. If you guys saw my last video, I kind of was able to help break it down on an individual level. Definitely. We're gonna talk about this on a larger scale, on like psychological, big, like racial, cultural level. Everything, because it's really infiltrated into a great I want to say majority, but into a great part, of our,
especially the minority community,
especially in the Western communities.
Yes, and minorities, because we all like to think that our problems are due to somebody else's existence.
Mm-hmm.
And you minorities and Black Lives Matter, and you feminists, and you people who are, so-called supporting the immigration issue.
Yes, JW.
Yes, you're looking at a situation where always, it's rich white men.
Mm-hmm. It's the other guy's fault.
It's the other guy's fault. Now, from a former victim who has overcome, I'm going to let Christina take the floor, because her video, if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it.
Satan's Mind Games Part 1. That's the one, if you guys haven't seen it yet.
Right, and definitely catch Part 2, because the word of God came through the mouth of this little baby.
Aw, thanks.
So well.
Okay. Yeah, with victim mentality, obviously, victim, someone who has gone through something that, was kind of like something that they didn't agree to, obviously.
No consent given.
No consent given. And the result being, damaging. And there is two things. Sorry.
Here we are.
There are two. I mean, there are genuine, kind of like victim things. Oh my gosh, can we start over? Okay. I can't talk.
That's okay. We'll keep going. Don't worry. It's such an emotionally charged issue that what we really want to do is focus on the fact that a person who's really been the victim of a crime or an abuse or a situation like that we're not talking about those kinds of people who are the survivors of things that have happened to them and that they are scarred or traumatized by, because those are real issues. We're not talking about that. We're talking more or less about the people who tend to wallow in their self-pity when they can, if they were to look at their situation and look at a way to empower themselves and not blame the other person for what's going on in their life. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, because obviously, for people who have been victimized or things like that, we're not trying to say like your experience is like invalid, or like the fact that you feel bad for yourself is something that should be discredited or not taken into account. Obviously, like
your pain is real.
Your pain is absolutely real. It's valid, and we greatly empathize with your experience. However, the mentality of remaining a victim is the poisonous thing, because there is a way to, you can overcome that mindset of like I'm a victim. Like when you have this victim mentality, it becomes your identity. Right. Like this is what happened to me,
and now this is who I am,
and this is forever changed my life and has forever shaped my life, and blah blah blah. I did this and this and this because this happened to me.
Exactly. Okay, now we're getting onto it.
And now my wheels are turning.
Okay, hit it, baby.
It's a mentality that you if you shape your identity based on the fact that you had no control over a circumstance that has happened to you, you'll continue to, you know, see that kind of, it will definitely affect the rest of your life because, you know, if you're always saying like, I had no control over this situation, then it's very natural to blame other outside things that has happened to you, maybe things that you even caused yourself. And the point is not to, like, kind of like what Mom said, not to wallow in the fact that this happened to me, or like the fact that I've been a victim of something, but it's more importantly, we want to talk about the effects, like the detriment that this kind of mentality has as an individual, as a whole,
right?
And how we'll be able to, like, kind of like, how, you know, like, how can you identify that? Like, how can, you know, and help people to, like, break out of it? Because honestly, especially...
It's poison.
It is absolute poison. It's a trap.
Yeah. And what happens is, here's a situation. People come, as she said, people come to identify themselves by what has happened to them, without looking deeper into who they are as a human being prior to whatever bad happened. So who are you? Are you the original, you know, before there was an original sin, as we say, there was an original innocence. So if you're going to lock on to the tragedy, the trauma, and use that as an excuse for all your ills, and for you not taking responsibility for your life, and for you staying in this mindset that I don't have to change because this was done to me, and I get this self-pity thing going on ad nauseum, then you're really locking yourself into a cage that no matter how many people care for you, love you, support you, you will never break out of. And you got to break that cage.
You got to break that freaking cage.
That's right.
Break it into million freaking pieces.
Locks, everything.
Because that's what's keeping you from owning your life.
Yeah.
And living the life that you know that you can live, and the things that you want to achieve.
Exactly. And stop blaming people for what you do or don't have. Stop blaming people for all the things that are going on that's not going your way. And let's kick this up and put this on the level of, okay, that's the individual. Let's talk about society. Now let's look at a collective. Now, y'all black folks, you know I'm talking to you, right? You know,
listen up.
You want to always think that Mr. Charlie's the reason why you got problems. So you need to go look for your solutions outside of yourself, outside of your community, outside of your own responsibility. So what you do is you don't even take responsibility for your own families or communities sometimes. You think it's somebody out there doing something to you. Now, what you've got to realize is that you're not that stupid. You're not that helpless. You're not that powerless. And if you think it's only because you've got a class of people or a race of people who are oppressing you, then you might as well just go ahead and put the chains on yourself because you're a slave.
Honestly. Can you actually start over? I'm not
feeling. Okay. Just a moment. We're going to take a little commercial break. And we're back.
Hello.
Okay, Christina, we were having a discussion because she's got some points that blew my mind just now. So I want you to hear what she just said. If we are, hit it, baby.
Okay, so from a lot of, if you look at the claims of, you know, Black Lives Matter, or just, you know, the black community in general, would very much say that, you know, kind of like Black Power, you know, that we are a very dominant race, you know, gene-wise, you know, very beautiful features, very talented people, very intelligent, very athletic, absolutely. And a lot of people are like, yeah, the black race is like so elite, you know, it's so ahead of everybody.
Okay.
Number one.
But
if you really hold on to that belief, I'm so sorry.
Here she comes.
But that's kind of, and I don't want to throw this claim out there.
But
because it's become such a trigger word. But if you keep going around saying that your race is the best, you know, kind of like how, you complain that white people say that. I mean, that they're the best. I mean, if you say, you know, Black Power and Africa has is like on top in humanity.
All right.
That's kind of, don't you think, racist?
No. Seriously? Real?
Yeah.
Scary.
I mean, really. I mean, I think it's Black Lives Matter makes it pretty clear, how they,
yes,
bring together their, minorities, and like literally make, claims like kill all the white people, from like
fried
their leaders,
pigs in a bacon and blanket.
And
there was another
like
point
that.
You made that was really,
I'm
really
getting to it.
Hit it. Get ready, folks.
Okay, going back again with these claims that, like, yeah, black races, we're so talented, we're so good, blah, 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 that we're a really successful and powerful race. Yes, indeed. No doubt. The talent is there. Yep. God-given as well.
That's right. The blessings have come.
Indeed, we have been very lucky. But if you guys are so great and so powerful and like so influential, why do we continue to see the black community on like the lowest rung of the ladder? I mean, don't you guys notice? I mean, you guys say that all the time.
That's what I keep hearing.
White person, the white people got a better job. They better more likely to graduate from college. Have let's just look at like financially. A lot of poverty in the black community. Yes. We see a lot of juvenile delinquency. A little out of wedlock children.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so if there's all this and a lot of really unfortunate situations, given that there's all this talent and blessing, why? If we are so great as a race, then why are we still oppressed?
Why are we still on the bottom? Nonsense? Why are we still looking for someone to save us?
If you ask me, what it looks like to me is that y'all got so angry about and rightfully so, got so angry about the physical slavery that happened early in America's history.
Right. That.
You traded in the chains on your wrists to chains of the mind. Because look at it. Let's just look at the model of black living.
Y'all know how deep that is? Do you realize how deep she is going?
Let me point it out to y'all. We have moved off of the freaking farming plantations into the urban plantations.
That's right.
Which socialists will actually use that phrase. They have us packed into these low community housing units, communities, got projects, we got
the projects.
A very dense population.
In inner cities.
They
don't call it ghetto no more now. It's inner cities.
Exactly. The inner cities, they don't offer really good job opportunities for you. That they're normalizing public education so that they can feed your children propaganda to not really achieve their dreams.
And don't hit it. Okay, she's gonna hit it.
Okay,
I might say my point.
They're giving your children all kinds of propaganda. They're running you. You guys can't afford regular television, so all y'all got daytime programming, which is also built to help spread, propaganda, that the government is your daddy, and we'll be able, give you guys all this bull crap to look at, like the Kim K show or Oprah and
oh Lord of mercy,
and Dr. Phil and whatnot. They're because you can't afford because you don't have a decent job, you can't afford decent food, so they give you all these
the government cheese.
They give you, your welfare checks, your WIC checks.
Yeah.
And
how much is that? Just enough to not keep you starving. Okay?
Exactly. And not only that, but that food is so bad. For you. The only food that is approved is things that are highly ridden with chemicals,
preservatives, GMOs, genetically altered for a reason. Y'all know it. Let me just quickly sidetrack. GMOs. You know what GMOs are? That's genetically modified organisms. What that means is that in order for the plants the government is growing through Monsanto and all these other companies, that they will spread. Y'all know what Roundup is. Roundup is what we kill weeds with here in the country. It's a pesticide, okay, or herbicide. Sorry, it's an herbicide. What they do is they genetically treat a plant so that it will accept a herbicide, which is a poison, so that the weeds don't go around it, but that inside the plant, you can spray it with these poisons. The plant will still survive. They'll process it like they do with your Cheerios and then feed that to your kids.
So that those chemicals are still in the food that while you eat it, yes. Which has been, there's so many studies that you guys can look up that has led to birth defects, infertility, cancer, all kinds of crazy whack stuff. Okay, so they give you WIC checks, they give you crappy government phones to make you feel like you have something nice.
They love you.
But you can, you're only limited to so much. Anyways, your guys are like, we're like, they have, oh, and let's not forget to mention that they have completely like rid the, virtue of strong black men.
Did I just hear that? Did I just hear that?
Thank you, LBJ, for the great society that you have obviously created for us.
You replaced daddies with the government.
Exactly.
That's what's going on.
And now we have deliberate. And we have this culture of, single motherhood and, delinquent men, no real good men out there.
But then you go and complain and all the prisons are full of black men and no other demographic. Meantime, you don't have any fathers in the homes who are raising these boys to become responsible men, who have taught them values and who have taught them. Do you realize how incredibly powerful the black family was coming up through the Depression, coming up through after World War II? I was raised in a family like that where I had a strong daddy. Daddy set down the rules. Mama helped support. I was fortunate enough to have a home where my mother stayed home and raised us because daddy took responsibility. Now, my daddy only had an 8th grade education, but we had a home on an acre lot, and every year we had new clothes and new shoes.
That was also quality education.
Quality education. Now, school choice and vouchers, you can't do that. You got to stay in this community and support your schools. The ones that are failing, where all the crime is and the drugs are and the stupid teachers, that you can't be going out to no private schools with Mr. Charlie's children. No, don't you stay. You stay down in Blackistan where you belong. I'll take care of you.
Yeah, and the thing, it's so, you guys, and there's this whole mentality, at this angst and this bitterness because, we've been slaves for so long, for 200 years, in America, and my great-great-great-great-great-grandma was washing clothes for the great slaveholder back in South Carolina or something. Yeah. And, and there was one, without the help of the white abolitionists and without the help of Abraham Lincoln, who the last time I checked was a white guy.
Yeah. Republican
white guy. Helped us to overcome slavery.
Right.
Number one.
Yep.
Number two, there's this bitterness towards white people for that, and so we have, they have to accept their white shame. And this is riddled all throughout liberal education. You have to accept your white guilt. You have to be aware that you have more privilege than this poor Deshaun who, you're taking his jobs, you're drinking his milk, you're eating his food, blah, 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 blah.
You live in a nice house and he lives in a dump.
Yeah, exactly. No. Which honestly is neither of those kids' faults, but there's this
collective.
There's this collective mentality of just like inferiority.
Yeah.
And I know that like people don't say it out loud, but it's deeply psychologically embedded into part of who you are.
Okay, let me just say this. As a black woman with a mixed way back there, because on my mother's side, there was European, as you can see by my color, and on my father's side, there was American Indian. What people have done is looked at their identity in terms of a demographic. In other words, instead of being an individual, you're an example. I'm a black woman. So they ask you, well, what are you? Go and fill out any application form, and you're going to have to check a little box that gives you what's your ethnicity. Is that really relevant as to who I am?
Exactly. Should that be the only basis of your identity, of your,
It's who you are? No, they're asking you what you are. And then based upon that, you start having concepts about how you should behave and how you should react and how in relationship to other people. Now, if you're a black person and you think that that's your main identity, then what does that mean in terms of your relationship with white people? Sorry, hit the button. But what is your relationship to other races and people based upon all you see of yourself as being a black person? Then take that down a notch and say that I've been a victim of this and a victim of that. I'm an economic victim. I'm a racial victim. I'm a police brutality victim. I'm a school choice victim. I'm a jobs victim. When does it end? When do you stand up and say to yourself, I'm a child of God. I'm a daughter of God. If I am a daughter of God and God is my father, who the hell is going to oppress me? Who the heck would it be?
I don't know. People can try. Even, like, because I know that there's a lot of steps, getting to there. Mm-hmm. And that is the most powerful realization, not going to lie, to mm-hmm. realize, that, God is your father and, that you're a child of Christ. Everything like that is,
right.
Like, the most powerful thing that you can realize for yourself. It'll
snap them
improve
chains.
your life.
It'll snap those chains.
It'll snap those chains.
Up
in
here
a heartbeat.
Too. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
yeah.
in here too.
Mm-hmm.
But even that is like, okay, let me say, for example, I am a black male. I'm 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I am an adult, for goodness sake.
Go on.
When am I going to start to take control of my life and stop saying that it's his, her, their, them's fault
mm-hmm.
for why I'm this way?
Grow up. Time to grow up.
Nobody's fault, okay? It's your life.
Yeah.
And grow a pair and do something for yourself.
Who put the gun at your head and said you can't do nothing?
If anybody says that you can't do it, screw them to the wall. Honestly,
that's not your problem. Hang them up. That's not your problem. You know what? You move on.
If they don't like it,
that's too
bad.
All right? You grow up. You get off your big, proud black butt. You get yourself a position, you get yourself some education, and you don't listen to how people define you.
Even your fellow black friends, because I bet you're going to piss them off.
Yeah. Oh, you know how many enemies we're going to make with this video. But I'm saying that when you have God and Christ in your heart and in your life, there is nothing you cannot do. You put your mind to it.
No greater confidence.
No greater confidence. And you don't need anyone else to define you, because once God defines you as his child, you got the universe at your doorstep. Mm-hmm. It's at your doorstep. You have nothing. You don't get put. The boxes disappear. You get out of the boxes.
Get out of the box. Oh my God! Thank you for saying that.
Get out of the boxes.
Because you know what's y'all's problem? Mm-hmm. Okay, even the black Christians.
Say it.
I'm so sorry.
Say it.
But you guys do boxes better than the Amazon shipping company. Y'all do boxes better than nobody.
She said it. No, I know. We go. Take a breath.
Okay.
I'm
going to give y'all some background story, my experience.
Hit it.
So, as mentioned this earlier, being a mixed race family,
mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll make comments, whether if it's like on social media or just like a social gathering.
Yep. Here it comes.
So, as you fully know now that I'm a conservative,
mm-hmm.
And, sometimes when I'm in these social groups or whatever, I tend to, tread lightly, because especially when I'm around my minority,
friends.
Kind of groups.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, conservative viewpoints are not always welcome. Not very popular with the progressive left.
Yeah. And the people who live in Blackistan, they don't like that freedom talk.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And sometimes I'll make a comment, that's more right-leaning, totally logical, totally makes sense.
Yep.
A very good point.
Mm-hmm.
And
that she has the freedom to say, because this is a free country.
I sure as heck do. And I will say it.
That's true.
And so I'll say, whatever, I'll make whatever
mm-hmm.
comment.
Yes.
And
here it comes.
I get called. I face worse racism and bigotry from our own black people than
mm-hmm.
than I've ever received from white people. I get called coon. People are like,
"Oh yeah,
you wouldn't happen to be part white, would you?" And I'm like, "What difference would it make if I were?"
I'm thinking like a child of God.
I'm
and a human being.
I'm thinking. Hello.
Ooh.
I'm using my mind, and I'm not regurgitating what Hillary Clinton has stood on a pedestal to tell me what to think, you know, or what to feel, or what some freaking Beyonce or any other celebrity has told me what to think. Because you know what? I am my own freaking person.
And you know something? We don't need to have anyone else define who we are.
That's for sure.
So, in conclusion, we better wrap it up because we want to go too long. Because we're going to keep this up, folks. This is not going to be our first foray into this topic.
Get out. And, okay, the reason why I mentioned the boxes is because you put white people in a box, black people. Okay, my black community. You put people in boxes. And you put yourselves in the worst box possible. Damn, that thing is sealed, chained, padlocked.
It's big.
And y'all can't even breathe to see what it's like. Because in reality, white people don't even care what color you are.
Honestly,
nobody else cares. And what it matters it matters more. Stop letting superficial things ruin and control your life.
Yeah.
Okay? Stop letting this look. And honestly, this could pertain to anybody.
Yeah, whether you're white, stop with the white guilt. Okay?
Stop with the white guilt. Stop it.
It's already done. All right? We done forgiven you. There is a God. There's a Jesus. Let's just stop with this nonsense about.
They died for our sins.
He died for our sins. And you know what?
We are forever.
Let's all move on. You know
exactly.
What? And you know, let's stop this because we all talk about let's make unity. Let's make unity. Okay, let's make unity then. All right.
And stop basing your life on superficial things, you know, whether if it's the way you look, how you identify, you know, if it's external, simply based on your race, you know, if it's on your sexuality, if it's on your gender. People these days, especially if you look at the freaking SJWs, if you look at the whole left, even people on the right too, they use their external look as their, I mean, it is obviously a self-expression, but it's not who you are. And there people these days are so insecure that they have to wear whatever it is on their, put on this show, put on this fucking mask. Sorry for my language.
That's okay.
They have to put on this whole facade so that people can see, you know, who they are, what they are. So, you know, and, you know, that makes that their conversation piece. That makes that the whole center of their quality of being.
Exactly.
And there is nothing more useless because when it comes down to it, who are you in your heart? When you're down and with yourself, are you proud of who you are and what you've made of yourself?
I mean, really,
ask yourself that. That's a deep question. That makes a lot of people depressed, but you got to be able to be, okay, back to victim mentality.
Did it.
Because if you're being a victim, you know, when you look back and, you know, at least from my own experience, looking back and being like, oh my gosh, this is what happened. This is what I've done. This is what I let happen.
Right.
And, you know, asking myself, who am I? And I'm like, yeah, I'm the person who didn't defend myself.
Right.
You know, and that's so freaking sad. And that's not, that's a block. Okay. If that's really the highest, if that is the core of who you think you are,
wow,
you're not there yet.
Yeah,
okay, there's a huge freaking, let's say
disconnect.
Sorry, this is the core of your being, okay? And this is a huge freaking wall, okay? And you got to freaking break through that. Yeah. Just break that down because it's a lie. 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 You are more than just a black person. You're more than just a white person. You're more than just Hispanic. You're more than just gay or lesbian or transgender or
whatever you want
non-binary. Yeah. You're more than just that, okay? And there is more quality to you. And I think that, you know, a lot of people make up stuff like that because they are insecure about who they really are and they don't want to get to know themselves.
Yeah, you get scared because if you're your real self, you know, all your friends, they may not like you. And here's the other thing too. When you become real about how you feel about things, we are so locked into, this is what we're talking about, the collective victimhood, that if I step outside that plantation, then suddenly people are going to say, well, wait a minute, who do you think you are? And I'll tell you who I think I am. I think I'm better than what you're defining me as. And I'm going to act myself accordingly. Now, the problem is when you want to stay in that box that she's talking about, then you want people to treat you a certain way. How do you think you're going to grow spiritually, mentally, and emotionally if you're locked into this little myopic world of yours? Not going to happen. So let's talk about you guys from here on out, spread your wings and fly. Knock the chains off, get out the boxes, put all that crap aside because it's superficial, and you could go out here and be in a fire, get third-degree burns, and nobody's going to know what race you are. Okay? So you need to start looking deeper into who you are, look deeper into your heart and soul, start finding God, start finding Christ, because in that kind of a love, no race, no gender, no nothing superficial. It's all about you and your heart.
Yep.
And you're no longer a victim. You're a victor.
You're a victor. That's the moment of overcoming.
Yeah, you have
of superseding everything that has told you what you should be, what you should do, what everybody has done. You can be your own master.
That's right. And
you are your own master.
You're your own master, and nobody is going to put another chain on you. So thank you for joining us today. We went a little long, but this is important. And we are going to go back into this because we want to help our fellow brothers and sisters with some of the thinking that they're afflicted with. And we want them to...
We want y'all to be healed and be normal people.
And free people.
Amen.
Okay, so thank you so much. This session, joining the dynamic mother-daughter duo. Here we go. Ding. Okay, bye, folks.
Bye-bye.